Should the Yankees shut it down this season? Should they just admit defeat, say, we're not going to make it to the playoffs, and start trying to tank in order to put themselves in a good position next year and years beyond? Personally, I think it makes a lot of sense for the Yankees at this point to just shut it down and tank. Fangraphs gives the Yankees a 0.1% chance of making the playoffs right now. Now, technically, the Yankees could win 90 games this season, which is around what it's looking like it will take to get a wild card spot. But that's if the Yankees win every single game for the rest of the season. So they would have to lose 2 or 3 more games at most to get to the 90 win mark. That's just not going to happen. That's not going to happen for any team. I don't care how good you are. You're not going to win 30 games and only have 2 or 3 losses. That doesn't happen in baseball. And there's now an incentive for tanking, but not tanking all the way. There's an incentive for teams who are on the cusp of making the playoffs and just don't make it. And that's because of the playoff or the draft lottery that's now in place in MLB. The draft used to work where it just went by record, so worst team, first pick, and then it goes in descending order. But now, because of the draft lottery, teams that just fall short of making the playoffs, that would have had, the 19th, 20th pick in years before, now they have a chance of getting a top 5, technically the number 1 pick in the draft. And the Yankees always complain that they never have a good draft because they always have late picks. Well, you can increase your odds of getting one of those higher picks by doing worse this season, and you can increase them by a good bit. So if the Yankees really want to try to increase the farm, they can they can do worse this season in order to get a better draft pick and help the team. Because they don't have to be the worst team in MLB to have a high pick. They just need to not make it to the playoffs and not be one of the last teams that didn't make it. Because the last teams that didn't make it, the ones just on the outside, have a percent under 1 of getting the first round or the first overall pick. Teams that are above that, teams that have, or not above, teams that have done worse than that, and we're looking out by a lot, they have well over a 1% chance of making the playoffs. I can put the exact odds in the description of this video if you want to see it. So, the Yankees can really help the farm system by not doing well this year. And then preparing for 2024, the Yankees are putting a lot of trust and a lot of work into certain people on this team, and it's rising the risk of injury. The Yankees have put a lot of work on Michael King this season. And remember, he's coming back from a big injury just 2 years ago to his arm. So it's always a little worrying when I see him get stretched out and pitch a lot of innings. Same with Tommy Kahnle. He was injured just last year, and then the Yankees signed him to a multi-year deal. He's getting older. Is it really worth putting Kahnle out there so often when he could injure himself this year and then he shut down next year and costing the Yankees $5 or $6 million? I don't think so. I don't think it's smart to keep putting them out there. Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, 2 guys who are not, Judge I wouldn't call injury prone. He just has freak injuries. Stanton is injury prone. He hurts himself running. But you can't give Judge and Stanton days DHing. One of them has to play the outfield if you want both in the lineup. And that increases their risk of injury. So you can give them more days off if you just admit defeat this season. Say, we don't need to put out the best lineups anymore. Give Stanton some more days off. Let's have Judge DH. Because if you remember, Judge is still playing through pain with his toe. He said that he wanted to get back as soon as he can, and once it is like structurally and medically healthy, then he was going to play even if it hurt. So Judge is playing through pain right now. Give him some more off days. Let him DH more. Heck, if he needs surgery on his toe, then give him the surgery right now so he is ready for spring training well ahead of schedule versus going into spring training with being fresh off the surgery, not quite being fully recovered. So the Yankees can protect two of their most expensive players on the team and make sure that they're healthy. And just making sure that they're healthy in 2024 is such an important thing because while injuries were not the issue with this team, the roster construction, all that stuff, there's a lot of issues. But it was a issue with the team. There were a lot of injuries. So why risk trying to make it to the playoffs when it's just not going to happen and you're risking these guys getting hurt and hurting the team in 2024? Just doesn't make sense. So, in my mind, shut it down and put yourself in a good position for 2024. You're not going to make it. You need to win every single game for the rest of the season, basically. You can increase your odds of getting a high pick, which would help the farm. And you can increase your odds for 2024 by keeping players healthy. But tell me what you think. Should the Yankees shut it down?